Namaste, my witchlings. How are we doing today? There we go. Hey. Namaste, my witchlings. Welcome back to yet another episode of Bitchin Witch. This is where we rant, swear a little, maybe a lot, and hopefully by the end of this all, we understand the world just a little bit better. Now, this week, I actually don't want to start with politics. I want to start this episode with a question. Why the hell is everybody so God's be damned tired? Not sleepy, not I stayed up too late watching Netflix tired. I mean, bone deep soul tired. The kind of tired where you look at your to-do list and you're like, I need a nap. You know, the kind of tired where just one more email, one more phone call, one more breaking news alert on your phone makes you want to throw it into the nearest body of water. Now, if you've been following me for any length of time, you have probably heard me mention my wonderful acupuncturist, right? Now, every appointment, she asks me the same question to start. How are you doing? And, well, for a long time, every appointment, my answer would be, I'm tired. And finally, one day, she looked at me and said, you know, that is your answer every single time. Now, to be fair, I do have fibromyalgia. I do deal with chronic fatigue. It's practically one of my hobbies. I also tend to schedule morning appointments despite being a lifelong night owl. So, you know, I wasn't exactly stacking the odds in my own favor. These days, I only tell her I'm tired if I think there's a legitimate chance I'm going to fall asleep on the table. Yeah. This witch has snored myself awake during acupuncture a couple of times. I really wish I could say I was kidding, but you know what? Here's the thing. The funny part isn't that I was always tired. The funny part is I don't even think it's unusual anymore. I mean, come on, look around. How often do you ask someone how they're doing and their answer is some version of busy, exhausted, hanging in there, I'm on top of the dirt instead of below it, or just we're surviving. Surviving. Y'all, when did surviving become our goal? Because I'm honestly starting to think we're asking something a lot bigger than just, how's everybody doing? I genuinely think the real question here is, why are we carrying so damn much that we can't do anymore? That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're not talking Democrats or Republicans. We are not talking the fascist Cheeto or his minions. We're not even going to talk about any specific news stories because, well, we're talking exhaustion. Because honestly, I think exhaustion has become one of the defining experiences of modern life. And honestly, this witch is going to bitch about it. I'm going to open my soda because this witch is tired and needs caffeine. And I have a question. Why are we so damn exhausted? Truth be told, I do not think there is any one answer. I genuinely think it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. So, let's start with the most obvious one. The Firehose. Not the news, not social media, just the sheer volume of information. How many of us remember when the evening news was the evening news? You got your newspaper in the morning. You watch the 6 o'clock broadcast, maybe the 10 or 11 o'clock news before bed, and that was it. Right? Today, your phone is buzzing before your feet hit the floor. Hell, for some of us, the phone is buzzing before we even roll over off the bed. Breaking news, weather alerts, political headlines. Somebody on TikTok just discovered a new thing you apparently need to panic about. Instagram wants you to know what your cousin had for lunch today. Facebook thinks your aunt has a very strong opinion about, well, literally everything. Your email has 1,700 unread messages. Slack is pinging. Discord is chiming. Texts are coming in. And your smartwatch buzzes to remind you to breathe. Thanks. I was going to do that. Maybe. Now, I was going to... After I finished reading about the end of democracy, climate change, bird flu, AI taking over my job, and whether Mercury is in retrograde again or not. It's not. It came out of retrograde like Thursday of last week, but y'all know what I mean. You know, priorities. Now here's the thing. None of those individual things are necessarily bad. I like that I can stay connected with people. I like that I can know what's happening in the world. I like that information is more accessible than it's ever been. But our brains did not evolve for this. We evolved to pay attention when something important happened in our village, not when everything happening everywhere demanded our attention all at once. We've gone from occasionally hearing the village bell to carrying the village bell in our pockets, and it never stops ringing. Now, before any of y'all jump into my comments, no, I am not saying ignorance is bliss. I am definitely not saying don't pay attention. Please do pay attention, especially right now. But there is a difference between paying attention and being consumed by it. Because somewhere along the way, we've started treating constant vigilance like it's a virtue. Like, if you're not aware of every headline, every scandal, every breaking story within 5 minutes of it happening, you're somehow failing as a citizen. You have failed this city. I don't buy that. I'll be honest. I don't buy that. I do not think you have to be plugged in 24/7 to care. In fact, I think being plugged in 24/7 makes it harder to care, because eventually everything starts feeling equally urgent. Everything feels like a 5-alarm fire. And when everything is an emergency, your nervous system eventually stops believing any of it. It doesn't become calmer. It becomes overwhelmed. And overwhelmed people do not make better decisions. They shut down or lash out, or they doom scroll for 6 hours because somehow reading one more comment thread feels easier than folding the fucking laundry. Yeah, I know. The joke is funny because it's true. We've all been there, and 1 minute you're checking the weather, and 45 minutes later you're somehow watching a video ranking the top 10 cryptids that could probably beat a goose in a fight. You've forgotten why you picked up your damn phone in the first place, and the laundry is still giving you a side eye from the middle of the bed. And the really insidious part, the algorithm doesn't care if you're informed. It cares if you're engaged, angry, scared, outraged, because those emotions keep you scrolling. They keep you clicking and watching. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're human. Our brains are wired to notice potential threats. That wiring kept our ancestors alive. Today, it keeps us refreshing our news feeds. And if you're already carrying work, bills, kids, chronic illness, relationships, household chores, caregiving, the mental load of just existing, that constant stream of one more thing, one more thing isn't just annoying, it's fucking exhausting. And that's before anyone tells you the solution is to wake up at 5 in the morning. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Also, the one more thing was a quote from the Jackie Chan cartoon. All right. So, let's talk about the 5 o'clock club. Now, listen. If getting up at 5 o'clock in the damn morning genuinely makes you happy, fan-fucking-tastic. I am so thrilled for you. You live your best sunrise life. Watch the sunrise. Do your gratitude journal. Drink your lemon water. Do your sun salutations while the birds sing. I'm not making fun of you. I am making fun of the people who insist that your routine has to become my routine. Because every few months, somebody pops up on my social media telling me the secret to success is waking up before everyone else. Apparently, if I just drag my ass out of bed at 5 in the morning, all of my problems are just going to magically disappear. I'll magically have time to meditate, journal, build my business, do my morning yoga flow, make myself a healthy breakfast, and maybe even drink my coffee while it's still hot. And yet somehow I'll also become wildly successful. Really? Because that is not what my memory tells me happens when I get my ass up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I do not become enlightened. I become tired and uber bitchy. And then somewhere around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my body goes, heh, cute idea. Absolutely the fuck not. And I end up taking a 3-hour nap because I have completely fucked up my sleep schedule. Congratulations, we've solved absolutely nothing. Now, can people change their sleep habits? Absolutely. Sleep routines matter. Good sleep hygiene matters. But here's something a lot of people don't realize and don't think about. Not everybody works the same. Some people naturally wake up early and some of us naturally stay up later. Some people have babies and others work night shifts. Some of us deal with insomnia, chronic pain, and ADHD and have disabilities. Other people are caregivers, and some people are taking meds that affect their sleep. Not everybody works the same. And you want to know something that really pisses me the fuck off? The assumption. Not going to go into what assumptions mean, but the assumption that if something works for one body, it should work for everybody. Dudes, that's not wellness. That's conformity. And as a yoga teacher, yoga instructor, that absolutely drives me batshit crazy. Because yoga taught me the exact opposite. The body does not fit the pose. The pose fits the body. If your knees hurt, we modify. Your shoulders hurt, we modify. If you're pregnant, we modify. If you've experienced trauma, you need to use a chair. You're 82, we modify. If you're 22, we still might modify. Because just because you're 22 doesn't mean you're perfectly healthy. The point isn't to force everybody into the exact same shape. The point is to honor the body that's actually standing in front of you. Can you imagine? Let's put our imagination hats on for a second. Can you imagine if I walked into class and said, I don't care that your knee hurts. Everybody else is doing the full expression. Suck it up, buttercup. I would be a terrible yoga teacher. We would call that unsafe, irresponsible, and probably call it ableist. I'd be a perfect RDC in boot camp, but somehow society tells us that every single fucking day, though. Work harder, push through, sleep less, wake up earlier, optimize more, stop making excuses. Stop using your illness as a crutch. No. Just no. Maybe, just maybe, the pose needs to change, not the person. Because somewhere along the way, we stopped asking, how much can one human being reasonably carry? Instead, we started asking, why aren't you carrying more? And that's the lie underneath all of this. The productivity gurus, the hustle culture, the optimization culture, the endless self-improvement treadmill. They all whisper the same thing. You've always got one more thing to give. You've got one more hour, one more side hustle, one more client, one more workout or productivity hack, optimization, one more, until one day you wake up and realize you don't have one more. Not because you're lazy or undisciplined or failing, but because you're already carrying everything you can. And now, instead of asking whether society is asking too much, we've been taught to ask what's wrong with us. I don't think that's the right question. I think the better question here is, what if you're not failing at life? What if, and I know this is a big imagination thing, but what if life is asking more of you than any one human being was ever meant to carry? And I think that's where we need to start talking about something we almost never acknowledge anymore. It's not time or productivity or even motivation. Capacity. Because not everyone starts the day with the same amount of energy. And that's where the spoon theory comes in. We'll get to the spoon theory in just a minute. Going to take a quick break here before we get into the spoon theory and talk about taking a step into dietheyogawitch.shop. This is where magic meets movement and your growth is supported on and off the mat. This is a space for transformation where yoga and life coaching come together to help us move forward with clarity, confidence, and purpose at a pace your nervous system can actually sustain. Alongside your practice, you will find some handmade intention-infused jewelry and some fun Dye the Yoga Witch merch like coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Yes, I included some things for our furry familiars. And, this way we can all carry a little bit of magic with us each and every day. Tarot and oracle readings are available when you're seeking insight, and there are a limited number of services offered to those here in the Puget Sound region. But the heart of this space is supporting your daily practice, your growth, and your connection to yourself. If something in your life is shifting, growing, or just asking for deeper intention, this is your sign. Come explore with me what we can create together at dietheyogawitch.shop. If you're enjoying this podcast and feel called to step just a smidge bit deeper into our coven, please feel free to tap that join button to become a channel member. There are some kick-ass perks waiting for all of my witchlings, and membership levels start at just $1 a month. How affordable is that? Now, we do understand that budgets are tight for a lot of people, so here's a little reminder that you can also, if membership is not in the cards for you right now, support our channel for free by subscribing and sharing this video with a friend. You can also find all of the ways to support me here on my link tree. It's above my head or in the box down below. I appreciate all of you and all of your support. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Now let's get back to the show. We are talking the spoon theory. All right. Capacity. The spoon theory. Trust me, this all ties in together here. Now, not everybody starts the day with the same amount of energy. If you've been hanging around my community for very long, you have more than likely heard me talk about spoons before. The chronic illness and disability community uses the spoon theory as a way of explaining energy. The idea comes from Christine Miserandino, who wrote an essay many moons ago called The Spoon Theory. Instead of thinking of energy as limitless, imagine you wake up every morning with a bouquet of spoons. Every task costs at least one. Getting dressed? Spoon. Getting to work? Spoon. Making dinner? Spoon. Answering emails? At least one spoon. Arguing with your insurance company? Oh my God, honey, darling, dear, sweet witchling. That's going to be at least 6 spoons. And honestly, now, if you're a gamer, an RPGer, you might actually resonate better with spell slots. You only got so many of them. Every spell you cast uses one, and eventually, you're out. Now, sure, you can swing your staff around a little bit, throw a rock, but the big magic, that one's gone until you've had a long rest. And that's the part I think so many people miss. The problem isn't that some of us are bad at managing our spoons. The problem is we keep pretending everybody wakes up with the same drawer full of silverware. They don't. Some people wake up with 20 spoons. Some of us wake up with 10. Others wake up with 5 because, well, we spent half the night in pain. Other people wake up with 3 because they had a sick kid. Some people wake up with 8 because they spent yesterday advocating for a loved one, sitting in waiting rooms, or navigating a healthcare system that seems determined to make you bawl your face off in the parking lot. And then society looks at all of those people and says, so, what did you accomplish today? Wrong question. The better question is, what did it cost you? Because that's the part we never measure. We celebrate the finished product or the finished project. We do not, however, celebrate the migraine that came afterward when the stress went away. We applaud the perfectly decorated birthday party. We don't, however, see the parent who collapsed into bed afterwards because they gave literally every ounce of themselves to make that shit happen. We admire the entrepreneur grinding 18-hour days. We don't, however, ask what relationships they're sacrificing, or whether they're sleeping, or whether they're even happy. We have become obsessed with measuring output without ever measuring the cost. And then we compare ourselves to people whose costs are completely different. Oh my fucking God. Y'all know the saying, everybody has the same 24 hours. I hate that phrase, that saying, with the fire of a million burning suns. Because yes, technically, we all have the same 24 hours, but we do not all have the same fucking resources. Some people can afford to outsource the tasks that eat up time and energy. You know, they have housekeepers and nannies and personal assistants and accountants and meal delivery and grocery delivery and landscapers. They have someone else carrying part of the physical and mental load. The first thing wealth buys is not luxury, it's capacity. It buys time. Now, before anybody gets defensive, I am not saying those people don't work hard. I'm saying something much simpler. If somebody else is doing your grocery shopping, you have more time than the person who has to grocery shop. That is just basic math. If someone else is cleaning your house, you have more energy available than the person scrubbing toilets on Saturday because that's the only free hour they have all week. Now, again, this is not a moral judgment. It is simply reality. Some people have more free time because they've earned it. Some people have more free time because they can afford to buy it. Those are not the same thing. And here's where I think we've really fucked ourselves. We keep comparing our lives to people who have entirely different levels of support. Social media shows us the finished kitchen, not the cleaning service, the successful business, but not the assistant answering emails, the gorgeous family dinner spread, not the grocery delivery that arrived 6 hours earlier. We compare our behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel. And then we wonder why we're exhausted. Maybe, my witchlings, just maybe you're not terrible at time management. Maybe you're trying to carry a load that was never meant to be carried by one person. Maybe, just maybe, you're not failing because you haven't figured out the perfect planner. Maybe you're exhausted because you're doing the jobs that a generation ago were spread across more people, or because today's economy and today's expectations are asking one household to absorb far more than it reasonably can. We kept the expectations, we changed the economics, and then we blamed ourselves when we couldn't do both. And if all of that wasn't enough, there's one more thing quietly draining your spoons every single day. Your nervous system. And, unlike your phone, you can't just plug yourself into a charger. So, what do we do? Because I know somebody out there is listening and thinking, okay, Di, I'm exhausted. Now what? And here's the point where I'm probably going to disappoint at least some of y'all. I don't have a productivity hack. I don't have a planner that's going to fix this. I don't have a magical morning routine, and despite what Instagram keeps trying to convince me, I am not going to tell you to get up at 5 o'clock in the goddamn morning. No. What I am going to tell you, though, is to protect your nervous system. Because your nervous system isn't just carrying your stress. It's carrying your fear, your grief, your frustration, your uncertainty, anger, and hope. It's carrying every notification, every headline, every argument you read online, every time you wondered if you could afford groceries, every time you worried about someone you love, and every time yet another tragedy flashed across your screen before you'd even process the last one. As someone who lives with cPTSD, I know what hypervigilance feels like. I know what it's like for your nervous system to forget what safe even feels like. I also know what happens when it never gets the message that it's okay to calm back down. And while everyone's experience is different, we do know that chronic stress can take a real toll. It can affect sleep, concentration, mood, and physical health. If your body feels like it's constantly bracing for the next thing, honey, that's not something you should be ignoring. That isn't weakness, that's physiology. So protect your nervous system. Turn off the news sometimes. Not forever, just sometimes. The world will still be there after dinner. Close the laptop. Silence the notifications. Go outside and literally touch some grass. Pet the dog when he's not asleep. Read that fantasy novel. Paint a picture. Crochet a couple of granny squares. Go out in the garden and get your hands dirty. Stick your hands in the dirt. Bake some bread. Play Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. Go to a yoga class. Sit around a fire pit with people you love. Do something anything that reminds your nervous system that not every moment is an emergency. Because here's something I realized while my friend and I were trying to launch our political burnout group, the Civic Care Collective. We wanted to create a space for politically exhausted people, a place where people could come together, process what was happening, support one another, and remember that they weren't carrying it all alone. And you know what happened? People were too fucking burned out to come to a burnout support group. That broke my heart. I know it wasn't because people didn't care, because they cared so much, they had nothing left. No spoons, no spell slots, no bandwidth, no nothing. And I don't think that's a personal failure. I think it's a warning sign. Community is one of the few things that consistently disrupts fear. Not because it makes the problems disappear, but because it reminds us we don't have to carry them alone. Now the song Lean On Me is playing in my head. So call your friend. Invite somebody over for coffee. Go to game night. Come to a yoga class. Join your local mutual aid group. Go to your church, your coven, your knitting circle, your book club, your quilting group, your veterans group, wherever you genuinely find connection. Not because community solves everything. It doesn't. But because isolation convinces us we're the only ones struggling. Community reminds us we're not. Now, before we wrap up for tonight, I want to leave y'all with one thought. Remember who you were before every spare moment became another opportunity to consume bad news. Remember what made you laugh? What made you curious? What made you feel alive? Remember your hobbies, your creativity, and the parts of yourself that existed long before an algorithm figured out how to monetize your attention. Stay informed, vote, speak up, stand up for people who need standing up for. Care deeply, but don't confuse constant exposure with effective action. The world does not need you burned out. It needs you present. It needs you healthy enough to keep showing up. It needs you connected. It needs you human. Because maybe, just maybe, the goal was never to optimize ourselves into machines. Maybe the goal was always to become more fully human. So, this week, give yourself permission to modify the pose. Because the body does not fit the pose fits the body. Maybe your life deserves that same compassion. And, as I smack the mic, and if nobody has told you lately, you're not lazy, you're not broken, you're probably carrying more than any one human being was ever meant to carry. So, put down what isn't yours to carry. Protect your spoons. Guard your spell slots. Take the goddamn nap. And remember, Heartfire isn't just something we talk about around here. It's how we stay human while paying attention. Oh, and I'm not wearing my shirt that says my hobbies include scrolling for hours, but if your hobbies include scrolling for hours, recovery starts with admitting you have a problem. Mine do too. So, my lovely witchlings, stay informed, stay angry, and stay magical. Love you guys to bits. Go out and make some good trouble. Namaste, Witchlings. All right. Hey, Witchlings. Before we go, quick little reminder, as always, this space exists solely because of our Witchling community. There are no corporate sponsors here, just shared magic, mutual care, and a fuck ton of love. So, do the like, share, subscribe thing. Join the channel if you have the financial means to do so. And help us grow our community by telling a friend about us. Hi, Aspen. Oh, it's Mike. It's Aspen. Oh, God. Oh. Yeah. I see James. Hello. Yep. I see a Mike. Oh, the other Mike. Yes, Princess Kelsey saying, imagine if they let cashiers behind a counter sit in a chair or a stool. Yeah. I got 8 hours of sleep. Where's my spell slots? Yes. Oh, no. Not mad. Yeah, Mike, the Aspen's a bonus sibling. Ah. Toot. Yep. Thank you, tiny robot friend. That is true, Mike. So, Aspen, I'm catching up with the chat. Aspen says, you never disappoint. You better not tell me to get up at 5 a.m. when I go to bed at 4 a.m. We'd have an issue. That was actually part of the original draft of the script, because I have a habit of going to bed somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. Last night it was about 3:30. See, I meant to introduce Aspen to Tookers. The irony is painful. Yep. Do. Yep. Yeah, I wanted to introduce Aspen to Tookers. Yeah, so when I was writing the script for this episode, I had mentioned that I had stumbled across my t-shirt that says my hobbies include doom scrolling for hours or scrolling for hours. And I had thought about wearing it and actually wrote that into the script. All right. Hey, Todd. I see Todd. How do we teach people to escape their social media algorithms? Yeah, I actually had to re-download TikTok so that I could keep up with the messages from Will. How do we teach people to escape? Yeah, teach them to put down the bloody phone and actively search for the content they actually want to watch or read, mostly. I say actually just put the phone down and interact with people. Do not be the smartass that Mikado was when he was about 10 and got told to put the computer down and go outside. So he decided to take the computer outside and sit under a tree so he could keep playing with it. He is his mother's child, I will admit that. But that would be the primary way of escaping the algorithm. I will admit, I have gotten sucked into the algorithm many times. YouTube sort of does it, but I don't tend to scroll through the YouTube feed. That's true too. But Facebook gets me every time. I will be going to Facebook because I had a notification that I wanted to go look at. Somebody commented on one of the business pages or something, and it never fails. I will open the app, and the very top post will be someone I really want to know what they're talking about. And so I'll read the post, and then I'll go into the comments, and the next thing I know, it's an hour and a half later, and I still haven't checked that notification that got me to open the damn app in the first place. Touching grass helps even if you're not actually fully relaxing. That's true too. Telling someone to go touch grass is all fine and good unless they're allergic to grass. That particular discussion happened a few times in my house. you know you're done with YouTube when it starts repeating. Oh no, these are comments on basically friends pages or other pages that I trust. And it's not that the comments get me pissed off, it's just I get sucked into the conversation. And then realize, it's been an hour. Bad day. No donuts. That is true too. Oh, touching grass is all fine and good. What grass? That's the other thing that there is a bottom to the shorts feed. As the man behind the curtain commented up a little bit, you're done with YouTube when it starts repeating. When I start getting the same 2 or 3 videos over and over again in the front page, it's like, yeah, I think I need to detach from YouTube or at least refresh the page a couple of times. Yeah. That was an interesting moon picture. Sorry, my digital frame caught my attention. All right. It is 6:15. I have a doggo who is telling me he would like to go out. Yes, I was leaning over trying to figure out what was on the frame and who had taken the picture, because I'm like, it was a great picture of the moon. Pretty sure it was my picture. I need to send you that. Aspen, check your text messages in a little bit. I'm going to send you a code. I watch the shorts from a couple people every couple of days, but I refuse to let the... You and your dad. What? Yeah. Yeah, he will get sucked into the algorithm and the feeds when I'm not home. So he's basically just trying to have a little bit of noise in the house, because I am not a quiet person. Yep, my algorithm, that's how I end up getting sucked into it. I'll be watching specific creators, and then it'll throw up a video about something to do with Broadway or musicals or some of that shit, and I'll click that, or it'll give me cat videos. My life is over when YouTube starts sending me cat videos or cute dog videos, because, yep, I'm surprised I am not getting Jimothy videos. Yep, Frogway instead of Broadway. Oh, great. Oh, no. Oh, God. Now my brain is turning Broadway actors into frogs and toads. The number of times your dad has gotten ads for something that I have mentioned sitting in the living room. Yeah. Yeah. All right, y'all. Mr. Doggy Dude here is going to drive me insane if I don't take him out soon. So we are going to wrap this up for tonight. That's true. Muppets version of High School Musical. Who would play Troy and who would play Gabriella? And it cannot be Kermit and Piggy. Muppet Hamilton. Fozzie Bear for Hamilton. The stupid bald eagle whose name I can never remember needs to be Washington. Don't get me started, Mike. All right, you guys. Gonna drink. Thank you, Sam Eagle. I know as soon as I hear it or see it, I know it. Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, you were so not kidding, Raven. Oh my God, yes. Facebook is evil. Just doesn't matter what part of Facebook. Threads is getting just as bad. And the fact that they will throw Threads quotes at you in oh God, yeah. Anyways. All right, my lovely witchlings. Now it's time for us all to go out there and spread love, spread joy, and spread kindness, because there's already enough darkness, hate, and discontent out there in this world. Let each of us choose to be steady lights of love and joy and hope for those stumbling in the shadows. Make sure your loved ones in all their forms, 2 legs, 4 legs, wings, fur, scales, paws, or claws, know exactly how much you care about them. Time is not a strict progression of cause to effect. It is more of a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff that moves faster than any of us realize. Meaning, those chances to say, I love you one last time, never guaranteed. If you only take one thing away from everything I say and do here, though, I really hope it's that you always remember this. You are loved, you are wanted, you are needed, and your purpose for existence is real, even if you don't know what it is yet. I love you guys to bits and pieces. I hope every single one of you has the most fantabulously magical rest of your day or night, wherever you are. I'll see y'all next time. Namaste, witchlings.